I'm looking at myself.
You sure?
I'm looking at myself, and my head is going the opposite the way of I think.
Oh, I thought you were trying to dance. I was trying to.
Oh, you're gonna dance with me?
Yeah. Okay.
Shake out the nerves, you know? Nah, that's good.
And honestly, look, you know I don't know what I'm doing, but I was gonna work with you. So anyway, hey guys, it's KJ. Welcome to another segment of Forward Life Coaching's former NCAA stories, former NCAA athlete stories of triumph. So today we have our guest with us, Hamilton Cuthrell. Did I say it right?
That's right. That's good.
Hamilton Cuthrell, and he is actually just has a phenomenal story about overcoming injuries, and not only overcoming them, actually then helping other individuals to overcome injuries. So what I want to do is I wanted to tell you a little bit about Hamilton, and then after I tell you about Hamilton, we will proceed to the interview, and he'll tell me some great stories. And I love it because you know what? He's like, I'm not going to tell you the answer because I want it to be authentic when you interview me. So I'm like, okay, so when you guys hear it, I hear it, and I'm ready. I'm ready. So a little bit about Hamilton. Please forget, I gained some weight, so I'm just trying to make sure my dress is fitting right here. So anyway, a little bit about Hamilton. Hamilton, he is from, he went to Davie High School in Mocksville, North Carolina. Still waiting to hear where Mocksville is, because, you know, I never heard that before. I know we got some stories coming along. And then while at Davie High School, he was a conference champion. He was conference champion in the 100, the 200, the 400 relay. He also is a school record holder in the 400.
For 4x1 relay, 100, 200 meters.
You're a school record holder in all of them?
Yes.
Are you, get out of here? Okay.
Yes.
So so I didn't know all that, but anyway, so then also he proceeded to college. He went to Methodist University, and at Methodist University, he is today, he is an 8-time Mason-Dixon Dixie Conference champion in the 55 meters, 100 meters, and the 200 meters. He is a 6-time, I think 5 were in college and 1 was post-college.
Is in what?
6-time All-American selections.
All in college.
Okay, those are all in college, okay. He is a national silver medalist. In 1996, he came in 2nd place in the NCAA National Indoor Championship in the 55 meters. Correct. Okay. In 2010, Hamilton Cuthrell was inducted into Methodist University's Hall of Fame. He also competed in football and cheerleading teams. Yes, I did. Okay. And so just to give you an example, okay, so first of all, his time in the 100 meters was 10:20. Yes. Okay, was 10:20. That's 10 seconds and 20. And then, am I right? Yes, correct. Okay. And then his time in the 200 meters was 21 seconds, 0.04. Correct. Okay. So guys, just to give you an example of what 21 seconds is, we just went through coronavirus, the pandemic, and they had a 20-second hand washing rule, right? So by the time you finish washing your hands and turning off the water, Hamilton Cuthrell would have crossed the finish line. So just think about that. Right. He's a 20-second time of the hand washing 200-meter runner. Wow, that's putting it in perspective. yeah, you know, bringing it home. And right. So he graduated from Methodist University with a BA in communications and also with media communications and also especially in marketing. Am I correct? Okay. And he is the owner of Just Move Personal Fitness Training Services. He is currently a level 1 USA track and field coach at Winston-Salem State. He is a sprint coach at Winston-Salem State University. Former track coach at Winston. Okay, cool. So, you know, I don't know if you know this, but I have a Ram family. My mom is a Ram, you know, my uncles and cousins and everybody, they're all Rams, you know. When my daughter said she was going to A&T, I think my cousins had like a heart attack. All Rams. I mean, you know. And then he's also a member of Phi Beta Sigma. Yes, fraternity. Okay. Yes, correct. and he is a member of the National Strength
Strength and
Professional
Condition. Yeah.
Strength and Conditioning. Okay.
Strength and Condition Association. Yeah.
Strengthening and Conditioning Association. Excellent.
Right.
Okay. So that is a little bit about Hamilton Cuthrell. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Awesome. Awesome. I was telling Hamilton, I said, that gray beard is kind of cool because people are starting to wear more of the gray. So
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was telling me
it grew on me.
It grew on
No
you.
pun intended.
When you first start off with the gray, were people like, wow, or people like, oh, that's kind of cool.
I was like, wow, I'm turning gray already.
I love it.
It was a little hard at first, but it kind of grew on me.
Yeah. Makes you look wise.
Oh yeah.
So Hamilton, tell me about the early days. Tell me about starting off. How did you start off running? How did you find your groove with running and say, this is it?
I was following my sister, who's since passed, but I gave that in my inductee speech, my Hall of Fame speech. Her and her friends were going to run summer track, AAU track. And so my father was taking her and her friends there. So me and my brother, of course, had to come with. So when they were out there, we were like, we could do that. You know what I mean? And so the coach said, well, let them try. Just let them come out here and try and just play around. So we did it. And they realized that we were outrunning everybody that was on the track. And we were just playing. Wow. We had no idea what we were doing. We were just playing. And he went and talked to our father and said, you want to think about letting them run it? And he asked us if we wanted to. We was like, sure. So we ran that summer and we just continued to run ever since.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just once you get the bug,
right.
With running, it is just such a cool, smooth flow.
It was winning.
It was the winning. It was the medal.
It was the winning for me.
Wow. So when did you get your first medal?
That summer. Yeah, that summer. It was an interesting story. Everyone they started. If you know about track, you start in what we call starting blocks. These are little apparatus that you get down and give you a better push off, so you don't slide when you start. So everyone was starting with blocks. I had no idea what blocks were. So I started like I would on the, running on the street or racing in the backyard, just kind of down in the ready set position, so to speak. And we were running the 200 actually. And I noticed when we were running, people was in front of me because they got to start with the blocks. It was like they got a little head start. But, I just kept going and kept running. And I finally caught the last person, the one that was in front, at the finish line. And that's the first time that I was behind in the race. That was the first time I had to, kind of really look and try to pick people off one at a time as far as passing them. And then when I finally caught the one that was in front, we were at the 200 finish line. And I found out inadvertently about leaning at the line because.
So did you lean?
I did lean because I wasn't, I caught him, but I noticed I wasn't all the way in front of him. So when I got to the line, I'm like, I want to get there first. So I really thrust my body forward and lean. I put my hand in front, everything. I got laughed at by my peers. My friend was like, why'd you throw your hands in front? I was like, I was just trying to beat him. It was enough to beat him. So I did beat him.
Wow. Did you beat him by hand or by your body? My body.
Because when I thrust, I kind of did like a Superman type of thrust. So I didn't know that it was the chest. It's the chest. For all of you out there who's leaning, all my athletes, the chest has to get in front. So it has to cross the line. But by me leaning and thrusting my arms and everything, my chest inadvertently went. I just wanted something of me to cross the line before him. And so I did enough and my chest did pass the line first and I won. So that was like one of my first things. Yeah, I didn't know that was by accident. I just wanted to win.
What do you call that? Like the Superman move or something?
Yeah, it's like the Superman move. Yeah, I've seen Olympic athletes do that, but I've seen them dive across the line before. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Look, whatever it takes, especially with a sprint, whatever it
Yes,
takes.
whatever it takes. That's it.
So you are from Mocksville. Where is Mocksville?
Caveat. I'm from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We moved to Mocksville.
Now you know you need to claim Mocksville. Don't even be playing. So where's
Hey,
Mocksville?
I moved through Mocksville. No, all my Mocksville cool me people out there. I love y'all. But yeah, Mocksville is like southwest of Winston-Salem. It's between Winston-Salem and Salisbury, I believe Salisbury. And it's a little country town, really.
Oh, is it out 40? Are you going out 40?
You're going out 40, yes.
Okay.
I-40, Interstate 40 west, past a place called Clemens, and it's a nice small little country town. And the story behind that is we were looking for places to move, and in 8th grade, at the Christmas break, my parents came and told me, or me, and my siblings, hey, we bought a house. And we're like, cool. There's like, it's in Mocksville. We was like, just like you, where's that? And so it was about a 30-minute ride, 30-minute ride from Winston-Salem. And it was disheartening because Mocksville has junior high. I went from middle school in the 8th grade. All of my friends went to the 9th grade, which is high school. I went to the 9th grade, which is junior high.
Okay.
So all of my friends were in high school and I still was in junior high. And that was that was kind of weird. And they were playing high school football. I was playing junior high football. They were like, hey, when are we gonna play y'all? You know, they wanted to play me, and I had to explain to them that, you know, I'm not there yet. We have like a little sub school that I had to go to first before I get to the high school. Was 10th, 11th, and 12th. So when I got to the 10th grade, then we played all of my friends that had been playing for a year.
So do you think you were more prepared when you got to 10th grade? Do you think you were fired up and ready to prove something?
No, not more than not more than I usually am. See, we went to North Davie Junior High, and we were undefeated as a football team. So
Wow.
when we went to high school, we were like, yes, because the team that it was a North Davie and a South Davie. They were sister schools and they were mirror schools, right? They looked just like each other. One was at the top of the county, one was at the bottom of the county. We at North Davie High was undefeated. The South Davie Junior High, South Davie Junior High, they were almost undefeated. They lost twice, and that was the 2 times that they played us. So
Wow.
our 2 schools were going to combine and go to high school and play at the same high school with each other. So we were like, we're going to take over. We're undefeated. The only time that they lost is to us. So we knew we had the best players in the county. And we thought arguably in the state. That's what we were thinking. So, of course, you know, politics of high school, it didn't work that way. By the time we all got to high school, the coach already had favorites, already had the people that he trusted that's been there. And he didn't want to, he said, let's just separate them. And he separated us, and he handpicked and put some on varsity, some on junior varsity. And we were devastated. The parents were devastated because we thought we were all going to come and take over. But it didn't work like that. Alas, we had our first taste of red tape.
Wow.
which was devastating to kids who really didn't understand why we are not able to come together and play, because we had the best people in the county. You know what I mean? So it was disheartening, disappointing. And for example, it was one time in junior high, I ran 4 touchdowns. You know what I mean? And that never happened. I broke records in junior high, which never happened at that school. They never seen anything like that, is what they kept saying. So when I got to high school, I can't prove it, but it felt like I was being taught a lesson of, you know, your place. because with all of those accolades, when I went to high school, I was placed on JV, junior varsity, while some of my counterparts who I was ahead of them, I started ahead of them in junior high, they went to varsity. So that was devastating of, I know I played at a higher level than those guys, and I'm in JV and they're in varsity playing in high school. So I still wasn't playing against my friends because my friends were playing on varsity. My friends that I left in Winston. So I spent my 10th grade year on JV. Now, JV was comprised of most of the North Davie and South Davie junior high schools. That's what the junior high, the JV was most of those players. We went undefeated in high school on JV, and we won the conference champion on JV. Imagine if all of those players were on varsity. We probably would have done the same thing. But you
know what? I'm from New Jersey, and I find that to be, and I could be wrong, a lot of the Southern culture. It's a lot of the relationship and knowing people and the favoritism and the nepotism in the North. And that's why I think they say sometimes we're aggressive or assertive. I don't care who you know. If you're not good, then you're not going to make it. So it's based on qualifications. So I just remember my ex-husband and I, we would go to dinner at one of my mentors' house. His name was Al Poe. And Al Poe was the chief marketing officer for Campbell Soup. And he had a dining room table that sat 24. He had a 6-bay garage with all cars, probably that cost, more than 3 cars put together.
Right.
He had a golf course in his backyard. So anyway, he had a lot of different things. But if you go to Al's house for dinner, you'll find somebody there with, you might find somebody on Section 8 housing or whatever you want to call it. And you might find somebody there who has, there were at our church, there was a, senior vice president for Bell Labs, and there were a CMO, and I'm talking about all African American, but they always used to work together. The CMO for M&M Mars, CFO for and $600,000-$700,000 a year. But the bottom line is they would have other people in the house, and it didn't make a difference because all they cared about was getting to the next level.
Right.
And the person who was on subsidized housing or whatever, they wouldn't use them, they would build them. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They put them in key positions and build them. So if you have something to contribute to make whatever it is better, everybody works together, everybody excels, and everybody succeeds. So I saw people who were not as successful financially really and truly excel because it's all about what you bring to the table. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I do. Whereas what we call everybody eats.
and I think that stops the stagnation and encourages innovation. That's why you see a lot of innovation, a lot of success, and a lot of those different things. But and also, just very high-spirited individuals, like excited and ready to do the next thing. So so I understand you reached the impasse with regards to football. Is that what led you to putting a heavy emphasis on track?
The first injury, so to speak, in high school kind of led me to do that. I injured my left knee. I took a direct hit to my knee, and after I got on varsity, I was doing great. I was averaging at least 2 touchdowns, 2 scores a game. I was leading in yardage per game. Yardage per game, yardage per carry, and yardages overall. I ended up with over 1,100 yards that season. But I took a direct hit to my knee, and they said that I had to get an arthroscopic surgery. That's when they go in with the camera, and they had to just slice a little bit. Yeah, it was just a little bit of the cartilage. That was, that's all that it did. I'm grateful. That's all that it did was it was just a little cartilage tear. So they just shaved a little cartilage off of that, and that was good, you know. But after that, in high school, okay, I didn't, you know, football was pretty much done in my mind. So I focused on track. I was doing both, you know, track and football. Football in the fall, track in the spring. So I was doing both. That time I really focused on my track after that. So in my mind, I still focused on my track. I thought that's what I was going to be doing. Um, that was the first injury because that was devastating to me because I didn't know if I was going to be ready for track because I was still on crutches. And we went to, now it's my mother's and father's church, and it was, they were having a program, and we had some rivals in track and field. It was a school in Greensboro called Dudley High School.
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
because that's
you're
the
fine.
competition. But yeah. But I remember because I went to Carolina with quite a few people from Dudley.
Yeah. I remember. We got along great. You know, it was a friendly competition. You know, it was like we saw each other at, you know, it was hard to recognize each other in the football gear, but when we saw each other on the track, you know, it was all friendly, it was love, but we were fierce competitors, you know, but we would, you know, talk junk, talk trash and things like that. But it was always friendly. But I still like to win. So that year at this program at the church, it was one of the coaches there, and she was like, "Hey, are you graduating? Did you graduate this year?" I was like, "Oh, no, I got one more year, which is this one more season." And she was like, "Oh man, uh," and she said one of the guys' names. She said, "He's not gonna be happy to hear that. We thought you graduated and you weren't gonna run anymore. Oh man, they're looking for me and preparing for me to come and run because he was good, I was good, but I always edged him out. I always beat him." And
He's at Dudley.
in Dudley, yes, this was a person that I was in Davie, right? And so she didn't know this, but at that, I came in late, so she was in the front. I was in the back with my brother, and my crutches were under the pew, under the seat. She didn't see the crutches. I stood up. She said, "Hey," and she was leaving, and she said, "Hey," and she greeted me and she asked me the question, and she shook her head and she was like, "Wow, okay, we got to prepare better." And so she left. She didn't see that I couldn't walk. She didn't see that I waited till she got in the car and left before I hobbled out on my crutches. But in my mind, I knew we have a few months, and I know I am nowhere near ready to run. So, of course, panic, fear. Um, am I good enough? What if I run and I'm not where I was? What if I run? Because if I step on the track, for me, I expect to win. And for the people around me, they expect me to win, or at least expect me to be in the top three, always. And so I'm thinking, I'm not there. I'm not in the top. I'm not in the finals. If I run now, I'm not making the finals. I'm I'm gonna get. I'm not winning my heat, so to speak. So it's gonna be very embarrassing. It's gonna be very um, disappointing for myself. And so all of those thoughts came in. All of those emotions flooded in. And so I really, I really worked hard. After I fell, I really worked hard. I really uh, tried to rehab myself, so to speak. And I was prepared for that season, for that track season. I did well in that track season, and um, then I went. It was time to go off to college, which was devastating. Trying to go to college.
Why? Why was it devastating?
I knew that I was good in high school. I had no idea how I would be in college. I remember sitting on my mom's bed one day. My mom used to work nights, and she felt me sitting there, and she woke up. She said, "Hey, baby, And mother's intuition, she was like, what's wrong? And I wasn't crying yet, but I was like, I'm going to college in the fall. And she was, and pride, welled up in her. She could see it in her face. She was so proud. She was like, yeah, baby, I know. Right. And I was like, you don't understand. I'm going up there and they want me to play football and they want me to run track. She's like, yeah, I know. And I was like, what if I'm not good? And she said, what do you mean? And she was like, and I was like, what if I go up there and everybody else is way better and I'm not even the factor? You know what I mean? I don't matter. And she was like, well, if you go up there and and I wasn't on scholarship, it was a private school. Um, and she was like, if you go up there and you don't like it, you stop, whatever. I said, wait, what do you mean not run? Not do sports? She was like, yeah, just go, to college and go to college. I was like, but what am I if I don't run? Who am I if I don't play sports? And she was like, looked at me in my eyes and she says, you're Hamilton, with or without the sport. You know what I mean? And so in that moment, I realized, of course, by then I was crying and bawling. In that moment, I realized that I have more to offer than just what I had to offer on the field and the track. In that moment, I realized that it was unveiling more as I went on. More became apparent to me, meaning as I started to focus on other attributes, um, I became to realize the person of Hamilton and the athlete of Hamilton, and so, which actually made me a better athlete because everything wasn't, either do or die. I was able to be more calculating. I was able to prepare better. I was able to understand, um, my mental preparation, for it. And it wasn't just, if I lose this race, all is lost. And I'm not talking about losing the
Isolated
race.
situation. If I lose the race, it's isolated. It's not devastating. Getting to that mindset.
I was at the mindset though of, if I lose this race, any race, practice, I'm talking about. I couldn't come in second in practice. I couldn't come in second in a warm-up. It was funny, going back to Davey, they did an article on my brother and myself. And when the guy, the sports reporter was there, we were actually doing a warm-up lap. By the time we finished the warm-up lap, we were in, full sprint, because he would get in front, I would get in front. He would get in, and we were just like that, and so by the time we finished, we were just sibling rivalry. We was just racing, having fun, but serious. But that mentality was taken over, and I didn't realize it was win, which can be a negative thing if it can be a negative weight, which can actually hinder you from winning. And so because you're so focused on winning, you're so focused on, if I am to be anything, I have to be good at this. And that, like I said, that becomes all encompassing. And so in that moment, when my mom told me that, it opened up another possibility. I could be somebody else. There might be more to me than athletics, right? And so I started to explore that side, a
This
little
was
bit more.
before college you started to explore that side, or during college you started to explore that side?
When she told me that, it was before college. It was the summer before. I really started to unfold, and I started to explore it more, throughout the college career, so to speak. So it started, I started to do, just more stuff, as far as seeing what I wanted to do, that's where different sports, that's where cheerleading came in. You know what I mean? That's where different
What
organizations,
was cheerleading like? What was cheerleading?
way different than what I expected. It's a sport.
Yes, yes.
I actually, when I was younger, I competed in gymnastics as well. So I what we call tumbling, but just do flips and things like that. I used to do that to kind of process stuff and relax and stuff, flip. So when I wasn't doing football, after the injury, and I will get to that, after the injury in college, I wasn't doing football anymore in college. And so it was me and it was several, guys, and we was playing around and whatever, and I started to, what we call tumbling, which is flipping, doing series of flips and things like that, just, on the yard, just playing around. And somebody told the cheerleader coach that I could do that. And she said, I heard you could flip one day. And I was like, yeah. She said, you mind showing me? I'm like, sure. So I just started doing the same things that I was doing. And she invited me to, come try out for the cheer team. And some of the other guys who weren't playing football anymore, she convinced them to come over. And it was, first of all, we thought it was going to be, oh, we're going to be around some girls, it's going to be nice. No, we worked. We worked. And it was good because, we did get spot A's, but we worked and we tumbled and we had 6 a.m. practices and, we lifted weights and all that good type of stuff. But we all became like a family. And it was good because their lives were literally in our hands. And we found that out pretty early because we're throwing these young ladies way up into the rafters, or we're throwing them up and catching them with one hand, or they're jumping, they were throwing them up and they're landing on our shoulders. So if we're not there, if we don't have, focus, attention to detail, they're going to fall. And at those heights, they're going to really get injured. And so now we have they literally became like our sisters, our little sisters. And you don't want to throw your sister up and miss because, those injuries are devastating. So it was way different, we gained a family. We thought we were going to be around girls and we gained a family.
You were still around girls. You still got the girls, but you're still around girls, you still got the girls.
Yeah, but our focus on those girls changed because we were like, okay, we're going to be around these girls and it's going to be, okay, it's great. We're in college. No, we were like, it changed from that to we're protecting these girls. So if we all went out, if a guy was going to talk to them, now he had to be vetted by her brothers, which are us.
I love it.
We weren't trying to date those girls.
I love it.
Because now they're our sisters. They turned into our sisters. And so, because we went through so much as far as, like I said, 5:30, 6 a.m. practices. Sometimes, we're trying to get a stunt, trying to get a move down, and it doesn't go right. Somebody falls or somebody has a near fall experience and everybody's trying to run over. So it was that protective instinct was developed. And so we just kept it when we went out and things like that. So it was interesting. It was interesting.
I love it.
Yes.
You're expanding in many ways. You've got the football, you've got the cheerleading, you've got the running. All this is going on, the social life is going on, you're developing your confidence, you're looking at other career fields, versus just track and just winning, which is a very, very healthy thing that you're diversifying because as a life coach, I work with people who are continuously living in expectations from 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
And because they're living in expectations from 10, 15 years ago, it's a matter of pulling off layers, really and truly try to figure out who you are. But, luckily you had that support system, your mom, who early on said, look, you know what, you don't have to be tunnel vision. You can make this a broader picture. So with all that grace and everything, something happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
injury
Yes.
that changed things for
Yes.
you?
It changed it. With all of that, it's so weird because now that I'm like trying all of these different things, I was in show choir. I was in it was
You
a
see?
gospel choir, huh?
Can you see?
I'm a background singer. I held a tune, but it was a part of, like exploring. It was a part of saying, finding, okay, who am I outside of everything, right? And so I was in all of that, but doing all of that, I could be uh obsessed healthily, if that makes sense. Meaning, because I knew that it my life wasn't over if I didn't pursue track as a career, so to speak. My life wasn't over. Now I could really put a healthy focus on my craft of running, my craft of getting faster, my craft of being better. So my workouts were smarter, my eating was smarter. And so fast forward to and it same thing. It started happening just like high school. Our coach kept us out of conference until conference, meaning we had a conference that we ran in, but we raced against people that were um, quote unquote higher in status. We raced against the Dukes, we raced against Carolina, we raced against like Arkansas and all of those people. And then we came back to the conference and ran, but that prepared us to win conferences and that prepared us. So I was, as you read, conference champ after conference champ, just like high school, just like junior high. I was repeating and reliving the success, but on this level because my preparation was better. I was able to have a better um, work life balance, so to speak, instead of just work as far as athletics. And so it was better and till I was doing great. Coaches was at the end of my career that came up to me and was like, "Man, you had a great college career. I'll be honest with you. We spent most of our time trying to figure out how to deal with you." And this was in college. And
How
that
to deal with
so
you?
yeah, because in there's different race strategy,
Mhm.
especially if let's say for the 4x100 relay, that's when every person on the relay team runs 100 meters. So on a 400-meter track, people are stationed at the corners of, so to speak, the track, and there's a baton, and the baton is passed around. You run 100, pass it, run 100 meters and pass it, so on. And so there's strategy. Sometimes, usually, you put the fastest at the end, but if the people in the front are weaker than the other people in the front, you're going to start off in the hole. So your fastest will have such a
The
um,
lead.
yeah,
I ran the 4x400.
yeah. So same thing, same type strategy. And so you're trying to put the best people in the best possible position to give you a the best outcome possible. So they on that just that they were trying to move their people around because we had other fast people like on second leg and first leg. So they were trying to move people around in order to who's going to have the best setup when I get the baton, because they have to be so far in front that I'm not going to be able to catch up. I'm just going to run out of room to catch up. So they were trying to figure that out, or uh, in the 100 meters, so to speak, race strategy would be there's different phases of the race. You don't just run. There's a start reaction, and then there's a drive phase and all of that. So they were trying to hold their drive phase longer. They were trying to get out of their drive phase quicker so they'd get to their top end speed quicker. So they were trying to do just different things because I was on the track and with their athletes. So they feel like if they start running their fastest quicker than me, they may get to a point where I can't catch up. So they were just trying to, that's what they meant by we were trying to everything everything we could to try to deal with you. Most of our practice, that's what it was. Coaches came up to me and said, so I was, in my mind, having success as I did in high school, as I did in junior high. So much so, in 96, 1996, I ran the 200 meters in such a way that my coach called me to the office. He said, can you come out here for me? I'm like, yeah, sure. Went down to the office. He said, and he was making it dramatic. He's like, I got this letter, and he's trying to be sad and looking sad. And he pulled out this, I'm talking, I don't know if you can see my hands, but it was this big old envelope. Yes, really, it was huge. And it was from the Olympic Committee, right? And I was like, what is that? Why are they sending me stuff? I was invited to participate in the Olympic trials in 1996, right? In the 200 meters.
Where were you?
Huh?
Where did you have to go?
Oh, I was supposed to go to Eugene, Oregon.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay. So Hamilton, I just want to say thank you really quickly for letting me go. I had to turn off the phone. Of course, that was my daughter because I just love her, and she was calling, and I wanted to make sure that I got her message. But anyway, let's go back. So you're on your way to the Olympics. You're looking at Eugene, Oregon, Nike. Okay.
Right.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So I'm in his office, and I had a big letter and said that I was invited to compete in the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon. And so that was, of course, it was a big honor. I was speechless. It's a dream, right? This is what if you're running track, pretty much you dream about running in the Olympics. You grew up watching the Olympics, coming around every 4 years. So it was coming around. It was an Olympic year. I'm like, all right, good.
What did your mom say?
Huh? Oh, she was elated. Everyone was elated. Everyone was like, oh my goodness, so now everybody knows that I'm invited all back home, that I'm invited to the Olympic trials. So giving the history that I'm starting, I go out there to run with my sister. We beat everybody, so I'm running track. I'm doing good in AAU. I'm going to junior high, setting records in junior high, going to high school, setting records in high school, in college, doing well in college. I at that time owned the record in the collegiate record at my university in the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x1. It's just like junior high, just like high school. So every level that I've gone to, I've dominated. Mm-hmm. So now there's news that I'm going to the Olympic trials. There is no doubt in anyone's mind I'm going to do what I've been doing, right? But the thing is, so we put that out of our mind. It was told to me when the date was, but we're still in the midst of track season. We're still in the midst of competition. So that's all well and good, but we have a meet this weekend, so to speak, type thing. So I remember preparing for my next meet, and we were doing intervals. I think it was 150-meter intervals, mm-hmm. And everything looked good. And like I said, I am now not just out there to win every race in practice, do or die. I still wanted to win. I still had a desire to win, but my mentality had changed to it was a healthy urge. It wasn't a panic. If I don't win, I'm nothing. That was the urge before. Now it was a healthy competition. It was I want to win. I'm going to make sure I do these things to win. It was more healthy. So now I'm fine tuning certain things, meaning certain practices I worked on the beginning of the race, certain practices, the end of the race, things like that.
Right.
So this particular day, I was running and I was fine tuning things. And we had, and they were like, all right, we're cool. And I was like, what's wrong? I was like, that last one didn't accomplish what I needed it to accomplish. As far as I'm trying to fine tune some stuff. Like I was working on coming out of the curve onto the straightaway, and I didn't come off like I wanted. It's the equivalent of if Kobe Bryant wanted to hit 1,000 shots before he went in, he hit 999. So he's like, I got to hit one more type thing to do his follow through. Same thing. But
and so, and what race is this for? You said the curve. So what is this? This is the 200?
I'm practicing the 200 where you run one curve and one straightaway. And when there's a certain way to get a better advantage to come off the curve onto the straightaway. And I was trying to fine tune that to get that right, because it was to me, it was a little blocky instead of smooth. And what happened was I was running that last one that I went back and did, and I pulled my hamstring off the bone. Yeah.
What do you mean you pulled it off the bone? How do you pull it off?
Well, when you run, you can have a strain, you can have a tear, or you can pull it. And when I pulled it, the way it's attached, it separated from the bone. So yeah, it was
it sticking out? Was the bone sticking out?
It was no, not the bone, but the hamstring, the muscle. I had pulled the muscle, and it was a knot. It was a big knot there. You could see that I pulled, and you had to rest and go through some rehab and things like that. But that season was over. That, and also with the season being over with the pulled hamstring, the dream of running in the '96 Olympics were dashed as well. That's the year, if anybody remembers, that's the year Michael Johnson broke the world record in the 200 meters, and lowered it. 1932. No one had ever.
You can wash your hands.
No.
You can wash your hands.
You can wash your hands. Now, when Bolt, nobody thought that was going to be beaten ever until Usain Bolt came along, and he's 1918 now. So you wouldn't finish washing your hands, the water would still be running, and you would still have 2 seconds left.
What were you clocking at? So I saw the 21:04, but what were you clocking at in practice?
We run what we call, and I do that now with athletes, I do sub-maximal runs, meaning you don't run max out all the time. You do it under so you can work on certain things. And so, I was coming around maybe, high 21s, 22, things like that. So it was a little bit under race pace, maybe 90, 95% or better on some races. Most races was between 70 to 90% of what I run. So I would come in maybe around like mid to high 22s is where I would try to stay.
So you think that 19 was foreseeable?
In my mind, it was. In my mind, you're right, because you got to understand, most people on the world scene at the time was running 20 point something. So it's within that realm of you had a few elite was running steadily, maybe 19s. But even Michael Johnson, even all of them, they were running, because it was like, I think the world record at the time was 19.7 or high 19.6s, which is that far from 20. But most people was running 20 point something. The way I rise to the competition, level of competition, everything clicking, there was no doubt in my mind I could be in the mix. There was no doubt in my mind I could go and I could compete in Eugene and make a team, and there was no doubt in my mind that I could rise to the occasion. And I guess as an athlete, if you are any good at, you're supposed to feel like that. So I felt like that, but when that happened, there again, you had to pull. I went back to mentally before I spoke with my mom, because now everybody knew that I got invited to the Olympic trials. Everybody was celebrating the fact they were, oh, I'm going to wear this to the Olympics because you're going to make everybody, the church at home knew. I had people like, I'm going to buy a ticket. My doctor at the time said, if you go, I'll be there. So everybody knew. And so now I can't make it off of something that I did. I did one more. Now, granted, I could have pulled it at any time, maybe in that meet. If it was that close to going, it could have gone at any time. But, I feel like it was something that I did. To now, my dreams of running in the Olympics were dashed, but the expectations of everybody else started to creep back in because of they knew that and it was a big deal. So now it was, I had to fight that. I had to fight letting those voices of people's expectations or what I perceived as their expectations of me. I had to fight that again, the battle of the mind of that again. And how I did that is, I threw myself back into other things. I threw myself back into peace. I liked going out into the woods, nature walking and things like that. Now I think they call it meditating. But my mind is, it's not all or nothing. It's not, what do you think? I had to look at me. What do you think? What do you like? What do you want to do? And I really found out I like helping people. I like encouraging people. Whether people liked it or not, that's what I inadvertently did. As far as whether they approved of me doing that or not, they wanted me to just shut up and run. So to say, shut up and run, get on the track, shut up and run. To the point where I felt depressed because I felt like no one at the school really cared about me. I felt like they cared about what I could do on the field or on the track. And everybody that really cared about me were hours away. So I was surrounded by people adoring me, feeling lonely, feeling like I'm by myself.
Wait. Adoring you, feeling, you were feeling lonely.
I was feeling lonely. They said they were adoring me, but they were adoring what I could do. They weren't adoring me. I was even dating a person a woman at the time, and I felt like, I still felt lonely because I felt like we really weren't connected. We were together, but not connected, because no one there really, they liked the idea of me, but not me. And I felt everybody that did and really understood and really cared about the me was hours away. So I couldn't leave. I couldn't change the different stressors that was coming my way. I had to change my reaction to the stress. And the stress was what I perceived people to think. And so I started to really be concerned with what I thought. I had to really be concerned with how I perceive things, what really brings me to this peace, and what keeps me at this peace, what keeps me working at my optimum level. And I had to fight to keep that in. And when that voice became louder than those people's voices, that's when my peace came back and stayed. But that's what I had to do. It was difficult. It was difficult because those voices can be loud, but whatever you focus on, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah. And you'll even hear sometimes when people give their acceptance speeches, they'll say, I did this for my mom, I did this for this person, I did this for that person. And there is that weight or that burden or that pressure on you to excel and succeed for others, what you want to do for others. And it's interesting when I speak to, as a teacher, when I speak to my students, a lot of times when I ask them, what do you want to do? And they'll say, well, such and such said I'm good at this, or such and such thinks I should do this. And I'm like, well, what do you think? And because there's so many people who have told them different things, and sometimes you got one kid with 5 different contrasting things on how to go. They don't know what they think. They don't know what they want because that voice has never been given a chance to
never been.
present
see,
itself. It's always like I said, layers, just layers.
right. And this is your life. This is what people are. We don't understand this, and sometimes we don't get to understand this until we're too, not too old, but way older. This is your life, right? And you're living it now. While you're 8, 9, 10, 15, you're living it now. We talked about the North and the South. I know in the South, I can speak of the South a lot of the times, especially in what I call the Bible Belt, the church community. They baby you until you, and I was talking to my nephew about this, they baby you, especially some men in the community, church community, until you get to a certain age. No one ever tells you what that age is. Then they drop you and expect you to know everything as a man.
Wow.
They're like, well, why don't you do this? You're 28 years old. Well, for 27 of those years, you've been doing everything. And you've been thinking for me. You've been telling me which way to go. You've been telling me, hey, you should do this. Hey, you have a talent of this. You should do that. You never asked if that's what I wanted to do. You never allowed me to explore me, so to speak, my gifts, talents, and abilities. You never allowed me to explore. You thought, or because my mom and dad did certain things, I was going to do those things too. I was going to be into music or a preacher or whatever. You thought that, and so that's the only avenue that you gave, so to speak. Or I was a good athlete in high school, so that's the only area that you're going to acknowledge. That's the only area that you're going to give me accolades and quote unquote love in and nourish, because that's what you thought I was going to do. You never gave me an option, so I didn't know that there were any options. And so people don't realize it's their life, and they have the decisions to make, and they can make the decision. Fast forward a little bit to like some of the athletes now. I have a young lady who's running track, and I'm working with her. I sat her down one day. I said, I give you permission to be you. She's like, what? I said, I never heard that before. I said, yes, you seem like you need permission. You know what I mean? You have permission to be who you are, whatever that is, unashamedly, without question. You don't have to unapologetically be you. I'll adjust, right? So her style is, it's her style. She runs, she practices, and we work around her practice and her running because it's her. It's what she does. Of course, the technical stuff, the safety stuff, all of that, those. But other than that, the style, that's you. I remember, I don't like holding athletes, holding them back or on different things, and so I like to allow them to explore now what they're doing. And that brings up a story in my head. My brother, back in high school, he was a great long jumper, triple jumper, right? But his coach was like, oh, you're good. You're real good. They had like what they call the freshman sophomore meet, where the freshmen would compete in that same school. Again, the freshmen and sophomore compete against the seniors who's supposed to be more seasoned. And my brother out jumped everyone.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, to put you up front, I'm going to wait, because for his reasons. We found out later that his reasons were he had some favorite people that he saw and that he's been working with, and he felt like he could make them better. I said, but my brother just came in and out jumped all of them and continued to do it, so it wasn't a fluke. So long story short on that, before my brother was promoted, so to speak, we moved to Davie, and my brother started jumping for Davie. And now instead of having him on his team, he had to compete against him.
Wow. Look at God, karma. God don't play.
So going back to my athlete, I don't want to hold anyone back for any reason, as far as I don't like your style, or I don't understand how to communicate with you. Because a lot of coaches I find, they don't, especially in the South, you're the athlete, you're the kid, I'm the adult, I'm the coach, I'm the authority. Listen to what I say, and that's it. And there's like, but this hurts my back when I'm running like this, or I don't feel fast, or it's a partnership, because they have an instrument, just like a car, just like a musician with a trumpet or a piano. They have their instrument, which is their body, right? And they race car drivers in the car all the time. The musician has the horn all the time. They know when that horn is not working correctly. They know when the valves are not easily pushed. He knows when the car feels like, hey, I think a tire is low. Same way, most athletes know when their body is not performing right. If they're really in tune, my leg feels funny. Listen to that. They're not, a lot of the times, they might not be trying to get out of working out or doing that extra interval, especially when they like to win or they want to win. They might not be. At least explore it. But if you are not adjusting to their style of communication, you're just going to say, be quiet and run. I don't want to hold anyone back, from that. I don't want to hold anyone back from greatness that they could be experiencing, or a life experience, because I'm not letting them be them. You know what I mean? So
So how
I,
do people, oh, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
So how do people find you? If you have what people are needing, like you can be that that additional support or strength for runners who are going through different challenges. Do you work with just runners, or do you work with overall athletes?
Overall athletes.
Okay.
Overall athletes. Yeah.
So
Preparation. Yeah.
for athletes that are experiencing some kind of pain or challenge, like when do they typically come to you? Do they come to you before the pain or challenge? Do they come to you during? Like, how do you typically work with your clients, or how do you choose, or what's your favorite mode of working with clients?
All of the above. Some come to me in preparation for a season. Some come to me as an extra workout during the season, and I've had a few after injury. I helped to nurse so to speak, a a prominent volleyball player in Atlanta back. She just had total reconstructive ACL surgery. She went through all the rehab, and I got her like 2 weeks after she finished rehab, and I worked her all the way back to the court. You know what I mean? That's actually on, and you actually, how people can find me. Everybody's in social media. That's actually on my Instagram, which is Hamp HAMP Athletics. That's my @ on that. Or Facebook is Hamilton Cuthrell on Facebook. Or you can, and if you wanted to email me, if you needed had any questions, you can email me. It's CUTHRELL, the letter H as in Henry, @gmail.com. And that's my email. So if you can, but if you wanted to see some of the people that I work with, some of the things that I do, my social media is the easiest and quickest way to do that. I update that, quite regularly. Sometimes, and I put my stories up, things like that. Follow me, you can see the stories. That's something that those are things that I'm presently doing, at the moment. I put that on the stories and things like that. So those are the ways they can get to me.
If there's anything additional that you would like to listeners about being prepared, about even your transition, how you developed an urgency for strengthening and etc. after your accident, if there's anything that you'd like to leave listeners with, what would it be? Anything that we may have missed?
Well, you can do it, man. Anybody, you can actually really do it. You can live your dreams. You really can. You can make it. You really can. Find out what works for you and work that. That's it.
I love it. I love it. So guys, I just wanted to say this was a phenomenal interview, phenomenal insight for athletes with regards to how to overcome challenges with regards to just being who you are, understanding who you are as a person, not just an athlete, and the uniqueness and I thought I turned this, I don't know what happened, I'm so sorry. And the uniqueness of your skills and opportunity and purpose. So I love the fact that you said that you love helping people, because some people don't even realize that there are many opportunities to nurture and develop others, not just, sometimes we learn our craft or trade, and sometimes we learn it from multiple avenues, so that then we can go back and teach an eclectic group of people,
Exactly.
So once again, thank you so much for everything. I believe that this will be very helpful and insightful to today's athletes, some young athletes who are trying to get to the next level.
I hope so. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay, take care.
Mhm.